Good evening, Tallahassee. This is student meteorologist Nico Sapienza. We have a great show here for you tonight. Starting out with our live look at Doak Campbell Stadium. It's clear because we're actually past sunset at this point. We weren't this way last week, but at 71 degrees, it's a really nice evening to be out and about. The temperature will cool down quickly after the sun sets, which it is doing right now, but not as quickly as it did the past couple nights because there's going to be more clouds overnight tonight. But we're talking about current temperatures in the low 70s on the western part of our viewing area. Eastern part of the viewing area where you've had the sunset earlier is in the upper 60s. But looking ahead, it's going to cool off into the upper 50s. We're going to see those more clouds, so not as much radiational cooling. The weather model here is indicating a few showers, but I think tomorrow is going to stay dry. But we will have to watch for maybe a chance of rain headed into the weekend. Tomorrow is going to be yet another warm day, 82 degrees. Partly cloudy, winds out of the south-southwest. And your headlines tonight, we have high pressure. Is it going to stay? That's what's causing our dry weather. We're going to talk about freezing rain and some local activities to enjoy the weather. All this and more tonight on FSU Weather.
Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Oceana Hayden, and this is the Wednesday edition of FSU Weather. So today in Tallahassee was definitely a lot warmer than last week. Last Wednesday when I did the show, it was like 39 degrees in the morning. Halloween was very chilly, but we are seeing a lot of high pressure, but a little bit warmer temperatures, and we are seeing some pretty dry conditions here in Tallahassee. But for the rest of the United States, there's some different things going on, like the freezing rain we will talk about soon at the middle of this show. We have lots to look forward to in today's edition. We're going to discuss all of the things going on nationally, like the freezing rain that's going on up in the north and some of that drier area in the Midwest. So lots of things to look forward to on this episode of FSU Weather, but we are going to start off with some look at Doak Campbell Stadium. We're looking at a really gorgeous sunset across the region. It is gorgeous, and even though the sun is setting a little bit earlier now, actually a lot earlier, it is still looking gorgeous as ever. We are sitting at 71 degrees in some really clear conditions, no clouds at all, really dry and beautiful night. Our high today was a little bit above average, not quite at our record of 87, but it's definitely pretty on average, especially with our low as well. We're sitting pretty. Our Tallahassee temperature is 71 currently, and up in Donaldsonville, pretty similar at 72. Down by the coast, we are looking a slight bit cooler just because of being on the coast at 68 degrees in Apalachicola, but overall we're sitting high 60s, low 70s for the area. Our dew points definitely have increased a little bit more in the past week. We're looking at 60 in Tallahassee, so it's not as dry as it was last week, but still a lot drier than it would be in the summertime. We are looking a little bit drier in Donaldsonville at 49 and a little bit more moist down by the coast. Our wind speed in Tallahassee is 7 miles per hour, which is definitely keeping things a little bit cooler despite the 70-degree temperature. But all around the Big Bend region, there's really not much wind going on except for right here in Tallahassee. Right here we are looking at some ground clutter. It's really nothing to be worried about. That's just from the satellite camera. No rain in the forecast at all for tonight for Tallahassee or really anywhere in this local region. For the future temperatures, we are going to drop down to the 50s tonight and into tomorrow, but it's going to warm right back up again for the entire Big Bend region. Right back up to 79, 80 degrees tomorrow at around this time. So really, we're looking at a similar day tomorrow. We're looking at this gorgeous, gorgeous sunset once again. I could look at them all day long. And for my favorite part, the dog walk forecast. I love looking at the cute puppy on the screen. At 7 a.m. tomorrow, it's going to be 53. That's really the most ideal time because you see, we're going to warm up to 73 just 3 hours after that. So tomorrow's going to be quite warm. It's going to be a little bit more of a summery temperature than what we've been really noticing, especially for November. Tonight, our low temperature is going to be around the 50s for the entire region, so it's maybe a light jacket, but really nothing to be worried about. We're looking at 54 in Tallahassee, 57 in Apalachicola, just a really nice night overall. For the week ahead, we have a little bit of rain coming into the picture, which is a little bit different than what I've been talking about since it has been quite dry in the last 7 days here in Tallahassee. Saturday and Sunday, we do have some rain chances. The rain chances will increase as we go into the next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. But overall, our lows are staying at 60s, 50s, but really that's just in the mornings and late at night. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on and definitely look forward to some rain. I know it's been really dry here in the Tallahassee region. Now I'm going to pass things off to Nico.
Yes, thank you, Oceana. Looking around Florida right now, looking at our cameras, you could see it's already getting dark. Orlando, you can see the skyline lit up in Orlando. Tampa, it looks really nice. Jacksonville, you had a nice sunset. It's starting to fade away a little bit more as evening goes on. Pensacola hasn't quite passed sunset, being further west, but they're pretty close to it. But looking at our current conditions, you can see it's 71 degrees here in Tallahassee. You can kind of see how Jacksonville, which is around the same latitude as us, 67 degrees. It's because it has sunset earlier there. It's 80 degrees in Key West, though, so you're still talking about very warm conditions for southern Florida, and you're talking about pretty humid conditions with dew points near 70 in parts of southern Florida as well. That's going to feel more summer-like than fall-like. Up here, it's a little bit drier, but a dew point of 60 degrees with highs in the 80s is still well warmer than it should be for this time of the year in this part of Florida. Looking at our satellite and radar, you can see it's been a sunny day all around Florida, but you can look in the Gulf of Mexico, there's some clouds. These will not produce any showers, but that might lead to it being a little bit warmer tonight because there won't be as much cooling. It's going to be a little bit cloudier, so that's definitely something to pay attention to. But looking around Florida, looking at your 3-day forecast, you're looking at Pensacola. Pensacola, your forecast, you're going to see some rain starting to creep into the area by Saturday ahead of a weak cold front that will come through. But Thursday, Friday, it's going to stay dry, maybe a slight chance of a shower on Friday. For Jacksonville, you're looking at temperatures that are going to be near record levels on Thursday and Friday. You're only a few degrees off from 90 on Friday. And then Saturday, it starts to cloud up ahead of this front and maybe a little bit of a chance of a brief rain shower there on Saturday. For Tampa, you're looking at temperatures almost at 90 degrees, 87 for the next 3 days, and it's going to be really warm. It's going to feel like summer pretty much, except maybe a little bit less chance of rain of what you normally see in the summer, but still a brief shower or storm is possible on Friday or Saturday. Heading into Orlando, if you have any weekend plans, Orlando, you do have a higher chance of rain and showers, so definitely keep that in mind if you're going to be out and about, because it's supposed to rain all weekend. It doesn't look like it'll be a washout, but you're talking about higher chances of rain across the Orlando area. For Miami, Miami stays dry. The front does not get this far south like a lot of fronts in the fall, and you're talking about temperatures around 85, 84 degrees in the mid-80s. It's going to still feel summer-like all the way through the weekend in Miami. Looking around Florida tonight, talking about temperatures in the low 50s up here in Tallahassee, but that range all the way up to the mid-70s in southern Florida, where it is warmer and humider right now, and 53, 54 in Jacksonville and Gainesville is going to be a bit cooler up here. For tomorrow, Tallahassee is going to have another warm day at 82, but parts of central Florida are going to be 86 degrees. That's going to be near record high temperatures for mid-November for them. But now I'm going to pass things back off to Oceana.
Thanks, Nico. So we're going to zoom out a little bit from Florida to the entire nation. I love talking about the national weather because it makes me realize that there are colder temperatures elsewhere. I do not like the warm temperatures that we've had lately in Tallahassee. Over here in the west part of the country, we are looking at 70 degrees, pretty similar temperatures to what we saw here in Tallahassee today. But all the way over here in Boston and Detroit, we are seeing 40 degrees, which I'm sure folks there aren't a huge fan of, but I would love to have that right now. All across the area, we are looking relatively dry compared to what we would feel in the summer months, like Nico mentioned. We are definitely much drier here in this western region. Just think about that 71 degrees in San Francisco with a 39-degree dew point. That is very separated, which means it is extremely dry over there, hence the brown on the radar here. In Tallahassee, our dew point is 56, and up here we have a 24-degree dew point in Boston, which is very dry conditions all over. As shown by our upper level water vapor map here, the brown spots really show a little bit more of a moist air, but really we're looking pretty gray, which means we're pretty dry across the entire country over here. This high pressure system that we've had in Tallahassee is here to stay just for a little bit longer, but something to take note of over here in the Colorado region, we do have a low pressure system right here that is going to bring some rain to the region and snow as well. Definitely something to look out for, and I will mention some of the alerts later. And over here, despite the high pressure, there is some alerts there as well. We do have some freezing rain conditions that could potentially happen tonight in the New York and all the way up here in the Northeast as well. But overall, the entire country is looking relatively dry right now. Definitely some precipitation over in the Great Lake region, but really we are looking relatively dry. So here we have those advisories, those warnings, the really important things for people to look out for. So if you are in this area of New York in the Northeast, that is where we have an advisory. That is likely because of the freezing rain that is potentially going to come through tonight, and we will talk more about what exactly freezing rain is and what the hazards are involving that in a little bit. But really in Denver, we have some advisories and warnings as well. We do have a wind advisory up here, but really overall we are looking at a pretty safe region in the national here. But for our 72-hour rainfall forecast, things are looking up, especially for us here in Tallahassee and really the entire South region. We are going to get a little bit more rain than we have seen lately. We're staying pretty dry over here in the West region and really all in the Midwest. We are staying pretty dry, but over here in the Northeast, Boston, Washington, Virginia, we are going to get a little bit of rain. These purple regions and red regions here in Texas indicate 3 to 5 inches of rainfall in the next 72 hours, which is honestly something that they probably need right now. I know that the South and in this Texas region was experiencing droughts a couple of weeks ago, so it's definitely a good thing in some ways. For tonight's temperatures, in the Midwest, we're looking at 30s, really cold temperatures, but down here in the South and in this Big Bend region, we are looking at 50s, 60s, and all of the above here down here. And then in the West, San Francisco, we're looking at 46, 55 in Los Angeles, and a little bit colder in Seattle. Tomorrow, it's going to be a similar day to today, really all across the entire region. Now, Nico, what exactly is going on in Tallahassee this weekend?
Yes, thank you, Oceana. We definitely have some stuff going on in Tallahassee, but taking a look around at our cameras right now, the Sportsplex, if you're going to have any sports played tonight, it's going to be nice out. You can see that the sun's already set here in Tallahassee. St. George Island, you have a camera that looks like it maybe a little bit earlier in the day had frozen up because it looks a little bit brighter than it should be. Panama City, it looks really nice here. You can see the sunset. You can see the sunset at Lake Bradford as well. So that's definitely something that you will be able to see. It's going to be really nice out. But looking at our local radar all around the area right now, it's going to be pretty nice out. You're not going to see anything. It's going to stay dry all evening. Really not even anything in the way of clouds. So if you're going to be out and about this evening, it's a great dry evening to be outside, and it's going to be really nice. You're going to see some clouds starting to creep into the area from the west later tonight. This radar model is indicating maybe a few showers. I don't think we're going to see anything in the way of rain tomorrow, but as we head into the weekend, we have a chance at least, which is definitely more than what we've been able to say recently. But looking at your Wednesday night karaoke forecast, if you're going to College Town to do karaoke, if it's outdoors, it's going to be mostly clear in 53. It's not going to be bad outside to do that. It's going to be calm winds too, so you're not going to get cold from the wind. You go into Strozier tonight, it's not going to be 61 in the library, but definitely if you get cold easily, prepare for 61 degrees when you're walking to and from Strozier. If you're studying for midterms there, at least you won't have to deal with any chilly breezes tonight because the wind is going to be calm. But if you want to wear something, you obviously want to wear something, but what you want to wear is going to be definitely long sleeves if you get chilly easily. I'm not going to get chilly if it's 61 degrees, but as you head into tomorrow, 82 degrees, it's going to warm up. So tomorrow you definitely want to wear something that's going to be short sleeves. It's going to be more summer-like than fall-like. It's going to be time to dress for more like September weather towards the beginning of the semester than toward the end of the semester. Looking at your drive cast for tomorrow, if you're going to be driving around, there shouldn't be any hazards on the road tomorrow. We're talking about pretty low chances of rain and just some partly cloudy conditions, and it's going to be a really nice day. So you don't need to worry about any hazards from the weather, at least, driving on the roads tomorrow. Looking around our area tonight, though, 58 here in Tallahassee. We're talking about temperatures that could really maybe get a little bit cooler if we get some less clouds, but it probably won't because we are seeing those clouds that are going to move in. It's going to keep it a bit warmer. If you're going to be going out to the North Florida Fair, though, it's going to be 79 degrees by the time you might be going to the fair, and it's going to be nice out for that. For the Miami game on Saturday, I'll be going to that. It's going to be a little bit warm, but it's going to be nice. At least it won't rain for the game. But when we talk about our weekend planner, the day where it might rain, it's going to be Sunday. It doesn't show up on here yet, but Sunday is going to have a legitimate chance of rain. So that's definitely something that you need to pay attention to if you have any outdoor plans coming for this coming Sunday. But now we're going to talk about what freezing rain is. That's not going to be a hazard we're going to see here, but it's definitely a hazard for some people.
Yeah, definitely. And I come from Naples, Florida, so I'm definitely not familiar with freezing rain. So I do think that this is a very important topic to talk about, especially in those areas that I mentioned earlier, like Denver and New York, with those advisories coming in.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to be dealing with some freezing rain potentially, and you're really going to want to pay attention to that. It can be icy on the ground because what you have with freezing rain is you're talking about the air temperature is going to be above freezing, but then on the ground it is freezing. So what happens is it freezes when it hits the surface, and then you're walking on ice if you're walking around. That makes it dangerous to drive. It makes it dangerous to walk around because you can slip. So that's definitely something that can be hazardous to the people it affects.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye out if you are under one of these advisories, because sometimes you can't see this ice, and sometimes you don't realize because, like Nico said, it's not going to be freezing in the air temperature, but at the surface it is cooler because of the ground being cooler. So it will be a little bit more dangerous to walk around and to drive.
Yeah, definitely. You know how slippery ice can get when you're driving if you're from up north. And you're talking about pretty much a graphic here where you are seeing freezing rain. You're going to end up with a warm air above, but then when you get close to the ground, you're talking about freezing temperatures. But unlike sleet, it's not able to refreeze until it hits the ground because it's such a small layer, and you're going to end up with slippery conditions. It can be very hazardous even if the temperature is above freezing.
Yeah, so honestly, this is something that's really useful for me to know as someone that's not familiar with these type of conditions. So especially even if you aren't from this area and if you're not from a cold area, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. So some hazards to be aware of would be slick roads, like we said. If you are driving, that is something that could be very dangerous. And the bridges and the overpasses are particularly susceptible to the freezing rain and also ice adds weight to the power lines and tree branches, which could cause road closures. Definitely things to prepare for ahead of time.
Yeah, and you can also potentially even have power outages. When you're adding weight to power lines, that's why sometimes you see more power outages with ice storms than you do with actual snowstorms and blizzards. And that's definitely not something that you would want to see when you really need to have your heat on at the house.
Exactly. So definitely have your materials and your kits, your emergency kits out in case power does go out, because you don't want to be stuck in your room when you are freezing. And so definitely have your blankets, your safety aid kits in case the roads do get closed and emergencies can't head over to you. So it's definitely important to keep an eye on this type of advisory. So we are going to bring things over to Brevard, North Carolina. I have never been here, but I am a huge fan of the Carolinas, so I love to talk about it. So the current conditions here are clear and 59 degrees. No chance for freezing rain here, luckily. So we are not in a region in that advisory, just so you are aware. But it is nice and sunny with a really slight wind of 6 miles per hour. So today their high was quite actually higher than the average. They hit their record today, 78 degrees as their high and 41 as their low. So their low was pretty much on average, but that high spiked up 16 extra degrees than what they usually would see. So it honestly looks like here in North Carolina, especially Brevard, they saw a pretty similar day that we saw here in Florida. 7 a.m. it was 56, and by noon it had heated up to 75. So it was pretty warm there, but I'm sure it was absolutely beautiful. You can see these gorgeous mountains in the back. I just love to see that, especially being from South Florida. I love to visit these types of places. The dew point in Asheville is 48, a little bit higher in Brevard at 52. So as you can see, it's pretty dry there, 52-degree dew point, but the temperature is 78. That's a really big distance between them, which I love to talk about. And it's very dry, so it's probably a very comfortable condition, a great condition to go hiking in if you are interested in that. In the satellite shows just some clouds moving into the area, just a little bit of scattered showers pushing through, but really nothing to worry about. None of that freezing rain chance, really no rain chances at all for this North Carolina area. Asheville and Brevard, it's mostly cloudy going into tomorrow, but as of right now, going into tonight, it is going to remain pretty clear, which is actually gorgeous. The weekend forecast for Brevard here on Friday, your rain chances are going to kick up just like they are here in Florida. So we have a 60% chance of rain on Friday, 30% on Saturday, and 50% chance on Sunday. So overall, we are going to see a little bit of a change in the weather here. Hopefully that will bring cooler temperatures to this region considering they hit their record. So looking after Friday, we have lows going into the 40s, dipping down to 41 degrees, high going to 53. So it really does look like they're going to get some relief from these really warm temperatures. Thursday is going to be 79, and that's really the last day that they are going to get that really hot temperature. Down here, it is going to be 58 by Friday. Now here we have an example of a gorgeous, gorgeous waterfall that you could go hiking at this weekend if you happen to be in Brevard, North Carolina. It is going to be 53 degrees and clear. Just like I mentioned, all that rain is going to bring in some really nice, cooler temperatures. Hopefully it will remain clear for a really nice time to go hiking. I'm going to pass things back off to Nico.
Yes, thank you, Oceana. That definitely looks like some nice weather to go hiking in because it's going to be cool and you won't sweat. But taking our live look back locally at Doak Campbell Stadium, the sun is now set and most of the light that you're seeing is coming off of the stadium now at this point. So you definitely are going to see not as much sunlight if you're going to be out. It's 71 degrees. We aren't seeing that sun out right now. We're seeing clear skies, and our wind is slightly out of the south right now, but that's going to calm down as we head later this evening. Taking a look at our area cameras, we're still talking about, you could see obviously the Sportsplex here in Tallahassee is now past sunset. St. George Island, your camera is pretty blurry. Maybe it is working and it's just blurry because it is look darker to me than it did earlier, but you definitely can't really see it well. Lake Bradford, you can see the sun setting on the left side of the screen. In Panama City, you have a beautiful sunset up here with the red in the background and the clouds, and it's a little bit further west, so it's still brighter than here. Locally, our radar has nothing on it except maybe a few specks of showers southwest of Port St. Joe that probably won't make it on shore. We're not going to see any rain anywhere in the area tonight, and it's going to stay that way at least for the next 48 hours. Taking a look at current temperatures, though, you can see right along the coast is a little bit cooler. Our coolest spot right now is Perry at 63 because the sun set earlier here than anywhere else, so you've already lost your daytime heating. 71 in Tallahassee. Just an hour or so ago, it was near 80, so we've already pretty much lost our daytime heating, and we're starting to fall pretty quickly into the 70s, and we're about to be in the 60s here in Tallahassee. So that's definitely going to be pretty nice if you're going to be out and about tonight. Looking at tonight's forecast, it's going to be 58 degrees. If we stay cloudy, it will probably be in the upper 50s. If we do get some breaks in the clouds, we'll see temperatures in the lower 50s because of radiational cooling, but with our clouds coming in, I don't expect tonight to be as chilly, so that's definitely a plus if you don't like the cool weather. If you're going to be out tomorrow, though, not going to be seeing the moon in the middle of the day, you'll be seeing the sunshine, but it's going to get warm. We're talking about 80 degrees. This is going to be almost 10 degrees above average for this time of the year, and if you're not prepared for that, then you're not going to enjoy it if you aren't prepared for dealing with weather that's going to be more September-like. And looking at our future radar, tomorrow is going to be partly cloudy for the most part. It's not going to be cloudy all day. You're going to have mixes of clouds and sun. I don't expect us to have any showers tomorrow. There's going to be just a little bit too much dry air. I think maybe by Friday we could have a pop-up shower, but tomorrow we probably squeeze in one more dry day before the humidity starts to really kick up by Friday. Tomorrow's forecast, we're talking about 82 degrees here in Tallahassee, pretty much low 80s area-wide. 76 except right on the coast where you do have a little bit of a sea breeze. And taking a look at our week ahead, you can see that temperature of 85 on Friday sticks out. It's going to be near record. We finally have a chance of rain above 20% on Sunday, and maybe a chance of rain Tuesday and Wednesday with another system as well. So hopefully we can get some rain because we really, really need it considering it's been abnormally dry pretty much area-wide for about a month now.
Yeah, I agree. It has been very, very dry, and of course I love drier conditions more than moist conditions, but it's definitely increased our fire warnings and all sorts of things like that, so we are definitely in need of some rain.
Yeah, we definitely are. This Sunday, I believe, will be actually a month since our last measurable rainfall. I believe it was October 12th. So hopefully we can get that, because if we don't get rain on Sunday, we're going to be going over a month without rainfall.
Yeah, I didn't even know that statistic. That's crazy. That is honestly a really long time without rainfall, and especially like now that it's getting really warm, it's definitely something that we need to cool off a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely is. Hopefully that weak cold front will come through. That's going to lower us a little bit. But talking toward the end of the month, hopefully we'll see a bigger front and really kick into fall.
Yeah, I really hope so. We had a tease last week. It was 39 degrees, it was 40s, and then today all of a sudden it just pipes up to 80 degrees, and I'm not a huge fan of that, especially in November.
Yeah, last week we were not too far off from record lows, and now we're only a degree or two off from record highs. You're talking about going from essentially January weather to September weather within a week.
Yeah, so definitely something to look forward to for me. Follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather.
You can always like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU Weather.
And watch us live on YouTube, which you probably are, at FSU Weather as well.
You can always follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather as well. You can send us any pictures over on that account. If we do get anything cool, maybe we'll even post it on our FSU Weather account. But now we're going to send things off to the wall to close out our show with one last look at our 7-day forecast.